There is a battle being waged for your mind. To the victor comes influence over your beliefs, your purchase decisions, and even your values. On one side of the battlefield are the so-called scientific poisoners, who are really just proxy scientists and propagandists promoting corporate interests. These scientists want to convince you that there's no such thing as a dangerous pesticide, that GMOs are harmless, in fact, good for you, that autism isn't caused by anything possibly related to chemical exposure, and that vaccines are a scientific gift to humanity, without which we would have all died from infectious disease. It seems there is no chemical the scientific poisoners do not think is safe to put on your skin or ingest into your body. Hydrofluosilicic acid, also mistakenly called fluoride, is perfectly safe to drink, they say. Chemotherapy is good for you and doesn't make your hair fall out or damage your kidneys. Psychiatric drugs are more important than vitamins. Pharmaceuticals should be your nutrition, and your immune system is incomplete without vaccine intervention at the tip of a needle. This cult of scientism believes that nature is a failure, your body is a failure, that nothing good happens without chemical intervention. Crops won't grow unless they're GMO. The world will starve without Bt insecticides being engineered into the kernels of corn. Humans would be extinct if not for vaccines and pharmaceuticals. There is no God. Instead, we should worship Monsanto, DuPont, Dow Chemical, Merck, Pfizer, and all the other corporate giants that produce the chemicals we're supposed to swallow. On the other side of this battleground are the naturalists, the protectors of life, people who have a home garden and know the value of open-pollinated seeds, people who eat real food, organic food, grown without toxic chemical pesticides, fungicides, and synthetic fertilizers. These people recognize the wisdom of nature, the self-healing potential of the human body, the value of nutrition, and the importance of protecting the environment in the interests of sustaining life on our planet. To the naturalists, playing God with seeds is a crime against nature. Injecting toddlers with mercury preservatives is a violation of basic human rights. Dumping toxic fluoride chemicals into the public water supply is a violation of not just law, but of the very principles of scientific medicine. The naturalists want to stop the poisoning of the planet, of our children, of the oceans and the air. They want GMOs labeled on foods. They want the choice to opt out of dangerous experimental vaccines, none of which have ever been proven in randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled studies. The naturalists, in essence, want to protect life. They seek to live without the devastating scourge of synthetic chemicals. They recognize that life is sacred and fragile, and that arrogant intervention is a dangerous thing. The naturalists are outfunded, however. The scientific poisoners have seemingly unlimited corporate funds to push their poison agenda. They have money to lobby lawmakers, to run television ad campaigns that influence votes at the polls. They have money to buy off the regulators such as the USDA and the FDA. They have so much money, in fact, they have bought off virtually every university, every medical school, and every medical journal in the world. And on top of that, they own the mainstream media. They set the editorial agenda that you ultimately see at the New York Times or CNN or MSNBC. And that agenda is always pro-corporation, anti-human, pro-profit, anti-health, pro-sickness and disease, anti-wellness and longevity, pro-medical enslavement, anti-health freedom. The scientific poisoners have now realized that truthful information is a threat to their entire business model. If GMOs have to be labeled on foods, for example, nobody will buy them. If the truth about chemotherapy had to be told to cancer patients, nobody would accept it. If people really knew what chemicals go into their foods and their medicines and their skin lotions and backyard weed killers, they'd never buy them again. That's because the truth about the toxicity of all these chemicals is horrifying. There are currently over 50,000 synthetic chemicals in your food, medicine, personal care, and home care products which have never been safety tested nor even approved by any government agency. Taken one at a time, each individual chemical is already toxic at a certain level, but when absorbed in combination, the result on human health, cognitive function, and fertility is catastrophic. Cancer rates are skyrocketing. Autism is off the charts. Alzheimer's disease and dementia are being diagnosed in younger and younger patients. Infertility is at record levels. Obesity is through the roof. Skin conditions, asthma, allergies, and inflammation are all at the highest levels ever documented in human history. But the scientific poisoners somehow want you to believe all of this has no cause. It couldn't be the chemicals, they insist, because the chemicals are safe. And how do we know that? Well, because the corporate scientists said so. As we are all being poisoned, the corporations are raking in record profits. As our soils are being killed with chemicals made into infertile croplands, we're being lied to, told that GMOs will, quote, feed the world. Yet hundreds of thousands of farmers in India who relied on GMOs are now dead, having committed suicide after experiencing total crop failures for their genetically engineered crops. They were lied to, and we are being lied to as well. The scientific poisoners promise abundance but deliver starvation. They promise health but deliver suffering and disease. They promise control over nature but actually cause out-of-control nature, such as the antibiotic-resistant superbugs that now threaten humanity. The scientific poisoners are worse than politicians. They not only fail to deliver what they promise, they make things even worse. GMOs now threaten the planet with runaway, self-replicating genetic pollution. Fluoride chemicals dumb down the population, retarding brain growth. Medication chemicals only propagate chronic degenerative disease while curing nothing. Corporate-sponsored science, it turns out, is a fraud. It offers nothing to humanity other than enslavement, sickness, starvation, and death. Not all science is bad, of course, but when science is conducted in the name of corporate interests, it ceases to be real science at all. It becomes a doctrine, a religion, a cult more dangerous than anything our world has ever witnessed. Scientism has become the new church, and it is a church that tolerates no dissension, no real scientific inquiry, and no opposing views. You are either 100% in favor of pesticides, vaccines, GMOs, psychiatric drugs, and lawn care chemicals, or you are condemned by the Church of Scientism. I say it is time for us all to gain clarity on where we stand on this battleground. The battle lines are drawn. On one side, there are the corporations, their proxy scientists, the media sellouts, and the pushers of everything toxic under the sun: vaccines, fluoride, chemotherapy, prescription drugs, GMOs, pesticides, herbicides, and even genocide. On the other side are those of us who seek to protect life. We hold sacred organic foods, home gardening, health freedom, the power of choice, knowledge, wisdom, and the protection of our children. We hold sacred open-pollinated seeds and the insect pollinators that make them work. We believe in clean water, clean air, bright sunshine, rainwater collection, critical thinking, self-care, consciousness, spirituality, and the healing arts. We are the future of humankind. We are the answer to the continuation of life on Earth, and we will fight for that future against the poisoners, against the fraudulent quack science, and against the toxic chemicals that corporations want to force us all to consume. Join me, Mike Adams, the Health Ranger, in this sacred battle for our future. At my website, naturalnews.com, we fight for organics, for GMO labeling, for medical freedom and health freedom, and even the right to plant your own home garden, without being terrorized by government officials. We fight for liberty and much more, for our future, for a world that can still support life, that still has fish in the ocean and microbes in the soil and honeybees to pollinate our food crops. Our weapons are words. Our strategy is to tell the truth, and our victory is inevitable. Join us, the naturalists. We are the future of humankind. Send any email to join@naturalnews.com to join our email announcement list. Thank you for listening. This is Mike Adams, the Health Ranger for naturalnews.com.